Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to the Blue Careers webinar, Connecting Emerging Talent with Marine Science Sectors and Mentors. And before we begin, I would like to let you know that this session is being recorded, so we can share it later with participants and those who were unable to attend. Your cameras are optional, so feel free to switch them off if you are more comfortable. My name is Patricia Puig. I'm a marine conservation consultant and the founder of Oceanogamy, which is an international consultancy working in the intersection of marine conservation policy and the blue economy. I'm also the founder of the Blue Society, which is a professional network created to support professionals navigating careers in the ocean space. Before we begin, I would like to introduce you the team that is supporting this session. First, we have Sofia Oliveira, who is part of the Shonogami and the Blue Society team and is managing the technical side of today's webinar. Hello, Sofia. Thank you for joining.
Hi, everybody.
So I would like also to welcome to Francisca Drews von, oh yeah, sorry, my pronunciation of your name, Francisca Drews, I would say, Sisa, between us. She will help me to facilitate the session. So then she's also a mentee. She's part of a mentee program, and she will share her experience. Thank you for being here, Sisa. Before we move forward, I would like to share a quick snapshot who is in the room today based on our registration. So actually, we have quite a lot of registrations, so maybe they will join a bit later also the rest. Right now we have 34 participants, but we had over 213 registrations. And around 58% from research and academia, followed by 19% of nonprofit sector, 16% of the private sector and consultancy combined. So also it's quite diverse, more from the research and academia, but also quite diverse. And I'm sure we can ask later that some coming from the research sector and academia, maybe they want to explore the other sector and also learn from the different mentors that we have today. We have 39% of early career professionals, 29% students, and 16% junior professionals. So over 80% of the participants are in the first years of the careers, but we also have more senior ones that maybe they're thinking of switching careers. So 73% are working in the blue economy, but others are exploring how to enter in this field. That's very interesting, no? To people who coming from different fields that want to, maybe for the marketing and communication or the terrestrial conservation, that they want to enter into the blue economy, and they want some advice on how to do that. So we will try to solve also this today with the experience of our mentors. As we know, they are not perfect careers, so they are not linear careers. So our mentors also went to this, I would say, labyrinth, or not a straight path, okay? And they will also explain about that, how they reach their current position and what experiences they learn, what the skills need, etc. So this session is not about telling you what path you should follow. It's about helping you to understand what is possible, what the skills matter, how people move between sectors. This is intended to be a very interactive session. So I encourage you to participate and take advantage of the breakout rooms. We will have 2 breakout rooms where you will have the chance to ask questions and share. Now I will invite Sofia to to run a quick poll to get to know who is today in our room.
Yes, thank you very much, Patricia. Let me start by sharing my screen. So if I will ask everybody to access the website www.menti.com. I guess maybe some of you are already familiarized with this. And after you access the website, you will enter this code that you can see here now on the screen. So 7530163. And we have here just two questions to start to know you a little bit better. And yeah, okay, we have many people entering already. That's nice. Malta, Netherlands, United States. So we already have two continents. Aruba, Vancouver,
Wow.
okay, Scotland, France, Russia. Okay, so this counts like a third continent. Okay, we have 20 responses already. Let's see if somebody else is entering their answer. Okay. But yeah, okay, so we have many people from Portugal and Spain and Germany, apparently. Mexico. Okay, we have South America here as well. Very interesting.
America. Yeah, great.
Yes. Okay,
Um,
okay. Now
Great.
to our
Very
second
diverse.
question. Yes. Now to our second question. Let's move to the next slide. Which sector are you most interested in learning about today? Let's see where people, okay. Nonprofit is gathering more answers for now, and consultancy as well. Okay, so this is very interesting, Patricia, because many people come from the university, but they are very interested in knowing about nonprofit and consultancy. This is very interesting results.
Okay, I will have to
Okay,
say, maybe José Charton, you will have to sell yourself with your pitch. So to welcome people to join. No, but just to say, he has also experience in the different sectors, so you will learn a lot from him. It's interesting. It's interesting that you are. It's quite diverse. Yeah, the interest, and you will have also a chance to join. There's two rooms, so you will have to chance to get to know two mentors. Fantastic.
okay, Patricia, back to you.
Okay, that's great. Um, thank you very much for your answers. It's great to know your interest in this session. So now, before we move into the mentor pitches, I would like to invite Franziska Drius von Ruteschell, who she has been part of the IUCN World Commission on Protected Areas Mentorship Program, and I had the pleasure supporting her as a mentor. But today, her purpose is not only to reflect on the specific mentorship, but also to hear her experience more broadly about someone navigating in her own blue career journey. Sisa, the floor is yours to share your experience.
Yes,
Thank
thanks
you
so
for
much,
joining.
Patricia. Thanks for inviting me, and sorry for having such a complicated last name.
So sorry with my pronunciation. Yeah.
Okay. So, as Patricia already mentioned, my name is Franziska Cesar Dreves von Ruckteschell. And currently, I work for the Submariner Network in Berlin, as well as the network secretariat as pro sustainable projects. And I mainly there work on the team focusing on marine protected areas, maritime spatial planning, and ocean multi-use. And yeah, Submariner Network is both a platform, also an NGO, connecting actors across the sustainable blue economy. Originally in the Baltic Sea region, but now we have emerged to a Europe-wide network and mainly focus on coordination, stakeholder engagement, capacity building, and communication in EU-funded projects. I've been working there now for a little bit over 2.5 years, but I originally started as an intern and I worked there as a working student and then moved into a project manager and consultant role. And before that, I did my master's in a program called Sea and Society in Gothenburg. I don't know if some of you maybe know this program, but it's basically looking at the human-ocean relationship from a million different perspectives. So ranging from marine ecology, climatology, yeah, MSP, blue economy, policy. So it's a very interdisciplinary program. And yeah, even though I'm enjoying very much where I'm working today, I'm also like I think many of you kind of trying to figure out where do I ultimately want to go and what steps do I need to take next to reach this goal. And I think for me, this it was really, really helpful to take the IUCN mentorship program and to be paired up with Patricia. So thanks, Patricia. Yeah, because we first, of course, also looked into a topic more specifically together. We looked at bottom trawling in marine protected areas and also co-organized a webinar on this topic, which was super interesting. But it was not really just about the topic itself, but it was also really nice to see how Patricia would address complex questions, how she structures the issues and identifies stakeholders, and how she thinks in a very strategic way about future pathways for change. And it also helped me reflect on looking into, okay, how do I currently address these pathways? And also where can I maybe develop professionally? And we also talked a lot over the last month, and it was really important for me as well to think a little bit more clearly. And Patricia helped a lot with this about where is it that I want to go eventually, and what skills and experiences do I need to collect on the way to reach this goal. And it was just very good to get like a mirror from someone outside of my usual work surroundings that helps me think about, my future pathway. And it also reminded me a little bit more, again, of the fact that it's so important to build these professional networks and to nurture them, because it's really great sitting together with people that are like-minded and very interested in the same topics, because then usually the most important opportunities and also ideas emerge. So overall, I think everyone that thinks about doing a mentorship program, I think it's super nice to just backstep out of the hustle from your everyday life, from your work life, from your uni, if you're still in uni, and to connect with someone across different experience levels, and also connect with other people, other mentees, other mentors that are under the same program. So thanks for listening, and thanks, Patricia, for being such a great mentor.
Thank you, Cisa. It's great to know your experience, and I hope the experience from the mentees today is similar. I'm sure that they will learn a lot from the mentors. So it's time now to hear from the mentors. So you will have time for doing this 3-minute pitch, if each of you. So I will introduce you one by one. And then that way you can rethink, because maybe after the pitch you think about changing rooms. So then you, just to remind you, you can choose 2 mentors. One first, the one that you're most interested. Later you can repeat if you still have more questions to this mentor, or you can change rooms. So our first mentor is Andrea Comaposada. She's representing the private sector and entrepreneurship. She is the founder and managing director of Anèlides Serveis Ambientals Marins. It's an organization dedicated to marine environmental education, conservation, and research. And she has a background in biology and environmental communication, and she has built her own organization from the ground. Today, she will share her experience on building a career in the private sector and what it means to create your own professional path through entrepreneurship. Andrea, the sea is yours.
Hello. Thank you, Patty. I am Andrea Comaposada and I am from Barcelona. And I am marine biologist specialized in environmental education and science communication. And my work focuses on ocean conservation and connecting people with the sea. From the beginning of my career, I understood that science alone is not enough to protect the ocean. And we need to transform science into learning experience that inspire people to act. My work combines marine ecology, environmental education, and also participatory methods. I design and lead educational programs, citizen science projects, and different activities, leisure time activities. I am specialized and interested in ocean literacy, and I normally study and I teach blue education. 10 years ago, I founded Anèlides Serveis Ambientals Marins. Anèlides is an organization, and we work to promote marine conservation through education, citizen science projects, and also communication. In Aneliras, we create different projects to promote the knowledge and awareness and active protection of marine coastal ecosystems in Barcelona. And we work in different citizen science projects. The first project that I will explain you is Urbamar Bio. Urbamar Bio is a citizen science project that study the marine biodiversity in urban coast around Barcelona and all of metropolitan area of Barcelona. The second project is Posidonia actima, focuses on protecting the Posidonia oceanica, Posidonia seagrass, meadows, and raising awareness about the ecological value. And the last project, because we work in different projects, but the main projects are three, and Save the Seahorses is the other project. We work to conserve and monitoring all the seahorses in the Barcelona coast and studies seahorses populations in the Mediterranean. This is why the citizen science is the key part of my work. And we involve communities, divers, fishers, and students in real scientific data collection with citizen science. And I am an entrepreneur, and I study and I work with different universities, research, and combine always science, education, and communication to bring the ocean closer to the society. And my mission is to connect all science and people, promote ocean literacy, and contribute to long-term protection of marine ecosystems in Catalonia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for sharing all your experience in entrepreneurship and creating your own company, which I know is not easy and already so many years. And she's a really reference in Barcelona and also in international. So now I will give the floor to Yaprak Arda, who represents the NGO and international organization sector. Yaprak is a marine program officer at IUCN Mediterranean, where she works on regional initiatives focused on marine conservation, nature-based solutions, and strengthening the management of marine protected areas. She will share her experience navigating a career within international organizations and NGO sector. Yaprak, welcome.
Thank you, Patricia, and hello to everyone, and thanks for the invitation. So I will try to give a pitch in 3 minutes and try to squeeze 10 plus years into 3 minutes. So let's see. So, well, of course, maybe like majority of you, as a marine biologist, my career started when I started scuba diving at a very early age. And then I decided that I should create my career and my academic pathway, related to underwater. So to me, it took almost 10 years to obtain my bachelor's degree. So it was not a straightforward way, but I was able to get a marine biology degree. But just before to say, I'm actually from Turkey, but I'm stationed in Spain. And my academic career were basically outside Turkey. So actually, after obtaining my bachelor degree, I did my master's degree on marine biodiversity and conservation with the Erasmus Mundus program. And then after completing my studies, I said, okay, it's time to go back home just to see what I can do with the knowledge that I gained. But unfortunately, when I went back home and I was, trying to find a job or a position that I, would like to work in, I couldn't. It took me maybe more than a year to be able to find a position that I really would like to work in, because, basically when I reach out to organizations, when I reach out to certain people, the response that I was getting, oh no, you're just inexperienced, you're too young. And sometimes you may know being a woman in certain places definitely is not advantageous. So it took me a while, but in the end, I started working as the marine officer for WWF Turkey. And actually I started working in the MPA that I did, marine research before, that I did my master's thesis before. So that was my lucky catch, so to say. And I stayed with WWF Turkey for 7 years. And in the meantime, I also worked with WWF Mediterranean, which gave me the opportunity to work at the regional level as well, not just at the national level. So I had the chance, to see what was happening in the Mediterranean, had the chance to network and and, collaborate with other organizations. After 7 years, of course, gaining certain experience, of course, starting as an officer and moving into senior, officer, then I felt like I was being a bit limited and I want to learn more. I want to outgrow and I want to see what else I can do and how I can bring the knowledge that I have from the Eastern Mediterranean into other parts of the Mediterranean. So I started looking for opportunities, and that's where I started to work as the Marine Program Officer of IUCN Med. So it has been 5 years since I have been working as the Marine Program Officer of IUCN Med. And actually, what I am doing here at the moment is actually trying to, bridge and link the Eastern and the Western Mediterranean, of course, the South and the North as well. So I am working on specific projects focusing on marine protected areas and OSCMs, other effective conservation measures. So I'm also a member of IUCN WCPA, which is the Commission on Protected Areas, again, working with OSCMs and marine protected areas and marine species specialist group. So of course, even though I'm working at the regional level, as you know, IUCN is a union. We have a lot of members, we have different commissions, and we have different, regional offices and secretariat. So it's not just the Mediterranean level that I am working in. I'm also connecting what I do at the global level. Because, in the end, all these conservation efforts are towards certain, international and global targets. So, it has been almost 10 plus years into my career journey. So I started as, as the field officer working at, local level, and then, step by step moved into, through the career pathways, so to say. But I think in the end, what I love, like since starting from like the academic all the way to now, I really want to focus on what I really would want to work in. And it has always been marine conservation and working for MPAs. So to me, in the end, being able to do this here is definitely very important. And being able to connect the national level to the regional level and to the global level is also quite important for me as well. And of course, as Patricia was saying, I'm not just focusing on MPAs and OSCMs. IUCN has many, knowledge products, many other working lines. So of course, we work closely with other projects, other strategic lines, other, knowledge products and tools. So definitely this also gave me a lot of opportunity to advance myself and advance my career as well. So I still say I'm also like early career pathway because I have colleagues who has been working with IUCN for 20 plus years. I think I have a long way to go. So, but we will have our group session so we can go into detail during our group session. So, thank you very much for the opportunity again.
Thank you so much, Yaprak, for sharing your experience and also the challenges. No, that it's not easy to get where you are now, in the position that you are now. And also you feel still early career because of course there are all, people with more experience. You're always learning, no? So and both of you, Andrea and Yaprak, no, you share all of the main things. I will mentors. I will say this passion for the marine conservation, no? So you have a push towards doing your career within your passion. So thanks so much for sharing, and I'm sure you will have more to share within the breakout rooms. So now I give the floor to José Charton. Actually, he was my mentor when I did my PhD. This is how I met him. So I can say he's a great mentor when I did part of my PhD in the University of Murcia. So he is representing the academic and university pathway. Jose is a professor of ecology at the University of Murcia, as I mentioned, and his work focuses on marine ecology, fisheries, and marine protected areas. And he has supervised many students while contributing extensively to research and policy and conservation. Today, he will share insights into academic careers, including research pathways, teaching, and how academia connects with conservation and management, but he also has an experience in the different sectors. I'm sure he has a lot to share. Thank you, Jose, for being here. The ocean is yours. I cannot hear you, Jose.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much, Patricia, for this invitation. It's an exercise which is new for me. I hope to respond adequately to your expectations and the expectations of people seeing us. Okay, I'm supposed to represent the academia, but I would like to start saying that I'm not a model academic because my journey didn't follow a straight line. But you have to know that there are a lot of different paths to access to a PhD or to research. Perhaps later on we will have the opportunity to talk about that. So in my case, I obtained my degree in biology at the University of Murcia in 1988. And then I wanted to start a marine biology career, but I could not access doctoral contracts. So I didn't have a clear path. So instead, I spent years as a freelance environmental consultant while working sporadically on my PhD subject whenever I could. Those early years were not lost years because they served to learn about very different aspects of the marine environment and to understand the challenges of the fieldwork at sea. But it was only in 1994 that I could finally go full-time with my PhD, which I obtained in 1999. Once I got my PhD, after 1 year, I hired a postdoc here at the University of Murcia. In 2001, I moved into a postdoc position in France, thanks to a postdoctoral fellowship from the regional government. And then I spent there in France almost 3 years. Then I came back to Murcia, thanks to winning a couple of European research projects. I found myself in a sort of academic self-employment because I took part in the writing of both proposals. So I was able to find myself a place in research by writing proposals. And these 6 years working in these European projects allowed me to learn how to lead teams, to coordinate the kind of multidisciplinary research I do today. It is after this period that I could reach a position as associate professor here at the University of Murcia. And then I could develop my research topics, and I became the PI of my own lab. And then I grew as a researcher with new projects, securing my international research network, acquiring new teaching and supervisory responsibilities, and so on. So where I'm now? Since 2020, in addition to developing my research on a large variety of ecological issues, I have to say that I see myself more than as a facilitator than a specialist. I could maybe explain that after that. So I've focused on bridging the gap between ecology and society. I usually collaborate with international organisms like UNEP MAP, MedPan, WWF, national and regional administrations, private companies, and we have created here a multidisciplinary knowledge transfer group on environmental governance, working with economists, with sociologists. So we work on making conservation more sustainable and fair, and also I put more energy into dissemination of our research to the general public. So that's all for the moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jose, for sharing all your experience. And also important to notice that sometimes when you are thinking about the research path, you're thinking about very specific research, no? But it can be multidisciplinary as you do, no? And also connecting with different actors, doing a lot on communication and outreach. So you don't need to really, that's another topic, no? To be specialized or to be more multidisciplinary, no? So that's something that maybe that, you know, some people will ask if they join your session. Fantastic. And then now, last but not least, Veronica L. She comes from Canada, so she took a early morning. Thank you for joining us. She represents the consultancy and policy pathway. Veronica, she's a senior policy advisor with the International Institute for Sustainable Development and has over 10 years of experience working in biodiversity conservation, climate adaptation, and international environmental policy. She has worked across academia, so the different sectors, international organizations, consultancy, including the United Nations agencies, and she will share her experience navigating consultancy and policy-focused careers in the environmental sector. So actually, I will say maybe Veronica Lo is the less marine than from the group, but she's also doing a lot of marine things, but she also worked on the terrestrial part, which is very interesting because I think some of the people who is attending, as we saw in the questionnaire, they come from other sectors and they want to go to the blue sector, no? So your experience also, you can share that. Thank you, Veronica. Please, the seat is yours.
Great. Thank you for inviting me. It's really a privilege and honor and really lovely to hear the stories here of colleagues. As Patricia mentioned, I am not formally in sort of the marine and blue sector, but I represent to you this landscape, which is the northern northwest coast of Canada and a particular island called Haida Gwaii. A very beautiful place. So it's a different landscape, a different seascape out here. But I have had some experience working in Europe actually, and that's how I got to know Patricia. We were both doing our PhDs together, and so I started out as a experimental field ecologist of salt marshes. My work was in Venice Lagoon. As Patty kept on reminding me, that still wasn't marine. So while she was diving, I was covered in mud and transferring sediments and looking at marine worms so, and polychaetes. And so I had a very different disciplinary background that involved this experimental field ecology, but in my postdoc, I moved towards social sciences in forested landscapes. So you couldn't be more different in the landscapes that I have worked in. But I found that to be a strength because we know that the land is connected to the sea, and and I just find it's been a very interesting career path. Like Jose, I think um, I have started out quite quantitative, and now I find myself in more policy communications. So it's been an interesting and very extremely nonlinear journey. And Patty has accompanied me on some of that. So currently, as Patty mentioned, I work at the International Institute for Sustainable Development. And there I'm leading on nature conservation projects that really try to twin the objectives of climate adaptation and biodiversity conservation, but with equality and social justice lens and social inclusion. Um, so a couple of projects. I do have a marine project, and it's really close to my heart. It's on supporting community-led oyster farms in Fiji. There's, quite there are communities there that are looking for livelihoods and looking for work, and we actually partnered with the private sector to support the implementation of these oyster farms where communities can grow the oysters and sell them on different markets. And so that's really been an interesting journey, and I'll be giving a seminar on that that's open to the public at the Institute for Oceans and Fisheries here at UBC. I can send the link for that later. I've also done some work in capacity building, so developing an e-learning course on ecosystem-based adaptation and nature-based solutions. I'm supporting a project on mangrove restoration in Senegal. So these are very interesting projects to work on. But at the same time, I'm finding it interesting to have part of my time also in academia. So I am a part-time research associate as well at the University of British Columbia in the Faculty of Forestry and Environmental Stewardship, as they call it. So they're also broadening beyond just the forestry sector. And as Patsy mentioned, throughout all of the work that I've been doing, I've always been interested in sort of advocacy and sort of connecting to governance issues. And I did form a consultancy several years ago. I have to say that I'm not active in it now, but Patricia asked me if it might be interesting to know about that process of forming a consultancy. So I have done that, and that was really sort of building on a network of people and organizations that I had from working for a short while at the Convention on Biological Diversity. It's based in Montreal, and you may have heard of the Kunming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework. So I'm always interested in engaging on these global governance issues and trying to understand how that can impact local scale initiatives, such as the one I'm working on in Fiji at the moment. So I would say broadly for academia, I'm interested in how human nature relationships can contribute to shaping these policy responses, not just limited to marine, but different landscapes. And then in an understanding, currently have a project in understanding how stakeholder values and preferences can be integrated into landscape restoration initiatives to enhance social and ecological outcomes. And yeah, I think it's been an interesting journey. I think that one of the questions was just about some of the challenges, and I think I should be, really upfront because that's how I think I'll be the most useful to you is to really be honest about, the interesting pathway I've taken. But it's also been challenging. I'm a mother of two young kids. My partner's in academia, also has a very demanding job. So it's been it's been interesting to navigate these different life things that come your way because you're not just a professional, you are you're a person and you have you'll navigate all kinds of life changes and these things happen when you're young and kind of feeling your way around your careers. So these are things that are interesting to consider. And I have to say that, discrimination, as a young woman, and as many of you, may be feeling like you're minorities in your particular sector. And so that's something that I've also had to navigate. And how do you deal with these challenges and how do you overcome them? Yeah, those are topics that I'd be really, happy to support going into in our breakout groups. Yeah.
Amazing, Veronica. I don't have words on your experience, and yeah, you are a great example of you don't need to focus also in one sector. No, you can be a researcher and a consultant, have your own consultancy company, also your personal life being a mom. No, and yeah, so that's I think that you can be very inspiring for our mentees as well. And then, okay, so now it's time to go to the breakout sessions. So we will take general questions later, if that's okay for you for the timing. And then right now, what we will do is we will do 2 breakout rooms. So you can choose one mentor that inspires you, maybe inspire you for the pitch, maybe inspire you for the sector is working on, inspire you for the whatever is the reason, you welcome you to also to be open. I hope there's diverse and everybody has enough mentees. Then later you will have the chance to change or to keep in the same room. And I will give 15 minutes. We will give 15 minutes for questions for each room. So we have enough time later to go to the main room and take key home messages because that internal discussions will not be recorded. So it will be great to have the key outcomes of the session afterwards in the main room. Before, when you enter in the room, just introduce yourself briefly. So your name, background, and the key interest. And you can use the chat or raise your hand. Probably, you can raise your hand. We are not such a big group. At the moment, we are 34 participants, okay? So I think we have the chance to also to speak. And then jump into the questions. It's important that you give the opportunity to everyone in the room to ask questions. So everybody has the chance to ask. Don't be shy, take advantage of this moment that you have this one-on-one, we can say almost one-on-one, private discussion with the mentors. We will give 1 or 2 minutes or warning before the closing of the room, so you will know when it's going to be closed, the session. Any questions before we join the breakout rooms? Now we are coming back. Welcome back, everyone. I hope it was a good session, a good 2 sessions that you had.
Hello.
Hello. I saw you very engaged, so congratulations everyone, the mentees, to really to actively ask questions, take advantage of this, of being with a mentor that you can learn from. And then I wanted to ask first each of the mentors. I will call you one by one. How was your experience? So first of all, maybe you can answer some of these questions in 1 minute, okay? The one that you prefer. How did you find the conversation with the mentees? There was any question that resonated you that you would like to share with everyone? And if there is one key message or piece of advice that you would like to participants to take with them today. So first, we will start with Andrea, for example.
Okay, we are talking about the private sector because we are a company in Anidas, and all the questions are really interesting. And we focus in different how is the important when you create a company and when you're our background in Anelidas. And also, I explained that it's important to diversify the different sectors, but for example, in our company, we create Anelidas 10 years ago, and we focus in Barcelona, and I think that this is important focus in one city, for example, because you have more data and you collect more data in 10 years, for example. And we talk about this. We talk about the importance of the environmental education with science, the importance to connect people with science, and the citizen science projects. And I like this meeting. It's my first time meet like this in around the world, and I think that is important to explain our vision because we are entrepreneurs or we are working in an NGOs, and I think that is important to explain our expertise, and that's all, to connect all the people always with education and communication, and to connect with science. Thank
Thank you. Very relevant conversations, yes, particularly all these communication, citizen science approaches, for your company. And also very interesting to know that some people is thinking actually about creating their own company, maybe, their organization, So fantastic. Yaprak Arda, would you like to be next?
Yes, well, I think maybe we didn't have enough time. We probably wish we had like 5 more minutes or maybe 10 or maybe even an hour. So we really had interesting discussions. But what I've seen with the 2 groups is actually, what we share is very common. Like we more or less had we more or less have the same passions. We all, more or less have the same struggles. We are always trying to find our pathways. So, we probably connected through, these discussions. And so, well, I think the main, discussions were around how to initially step into, let's say the NGO or like the international organizations. Because usually, you come from like the academic background, or you come from totally a different background and you try to step into a new background. And of course, this like initial way of starting a new position is definitely not easy. So we discuss a bit about, how to be able to find a position, where to look for it. And, sometimes you can be even overqualified for a position, and also have to advance yourself a bit, while you're still, searching for new opportunities and, new positions. And we also, discuss about, sometimes, our career pathways may not be a straight line. We just have to go through these winding roads to be able to reach to the end. And overall, my, key message from these discussions is there is definitely the position or the job or the project that you actually will fall in love and will definitely dedicate your life and your heart. It's there. As I said, it may not be the straight road. It will take maybe branch street sideways, but you will get there eventually. And when you find the right fit for you, then hopefully you will retire from that. Happily ever after, so to say.
Oh,
Yeah, thank you.
thank you, Yaprak. I like your message, and probably that way you also motivate people who I understand the frustration sometimes. No, I also give I give usually one-to-one mentorship session to people who is want advice to find for the career path, or they are looking for jobs. And I know it's very frustrating also from my personal experience, no, to look for a job that really suits you, no, and you had to try also this different and until you arrive to that path. So it's not a straightforward path. Yes, thank you for sharing. I saw you have a lot of fans in your you have quite a lot of people there in your group. So thanks for managing that. And now we go to José Charton. Could you share your experience with your group?
Yeah, our few conversations were about the difficulties to find your way and or a way adapted to your personal situation. I would say don't lose your heart. I mean, be constant, because at the end, my experience is that there is always a place for you in to do a PhD, to find a way in the academia. The other topic we talked about was the importance to incorporate people to the research. I mean, the community, local community, and then when we talk about marine conservation, we have to take people into consideration and not only fish or benthos and so on. So more and more the projects are incorporating these kind of approaches, multidisciplinary, working together, ecologists, sociologists, and so on. And it's important. What we want is to influence the policies, the public policies to reach a real conservation. And for my side, I would say there's no single path to reach the academia, to enter in the academia. So there are, I mean, a lot of ways to go to do a PhD and to make a research, and you have to find your way. And also that academia is a long distance race. It's not a sprint. So you have to enjoy each step by step, not losing the long-term goal, but you have to enjoy each step, because and be open to opportunities or even unexpected opportunities, because this way is very often you have surprises and good surprises to opportunities that you didn't expect, and finally is the way you have to follow. I don't know, more or less, if there is ideas about this experience, which was very interesting for me.
Thank you very much, Jose. Yes, you're right. This is a long run, so you have to be patient many times. Don't get what you want straightforward, and you're learning on the way. That's great that you could share the experience with your mentees. Then now, last but not least, Veronica L, could you share your experience?
Yes, sure. Thank you. Yeah, we in our group we talked about how hard it is to find that first job, and I think I relayed some advice on how I found my first consulting position was to find a senior consultant and then work as a pair. to keep networking. So one piece of advice that I was given by a mentor one time was, for every LinkedIn, virtual cafe that you offer, someone might be busy, and so try to walk away with at least two contacts, from each person that you contact. So that's something, that I found interesting advice and in sort of the way that you network. We talked about the importance of selling your skills because I think a lot of us are from the academic background, and a lot of the work that we do is actually really valuable, but we haven't really sold it yet. Like, so I list the work that I did is in my PhD as a job experience because I was, coordinating a lot of, you're working on tight schedules, tight budgets, you're planning travel, you're coordinating shipments of samples, like you're doing all these things that are actually really transferable. So you focus on those transferable skills, like all the coordination work that you do, the project management, and sell that as a skill. Yeah, and I think we also talked about the important role of communications as well. We had an interesting conversation about how there's a need to reach out to different audiences and how often in the NGO consultant conservation worlds, we're often speaking to the converted and how there's an interesting role and growth in communications and yeah, and getting the research and work out to other people.
Okay, thank you, Veronica. You gave great advices, no? Particularly, I usually give also this advice of networking is super important. I use a lot LinkedIn, actually, either publishing or even contacting through private message, no? Or following people that you really, you're passionate about what they do, maybe, and you can learn from them. Maybe, one day where you can work with them or collaborate with them. And communications is also super important in our field. Few of you mentors, you already mentioned it. So even also if you don't come from the blue sector, you come from the communication or marketing, we need you. We need you in the blue sector. So you are very, valuable for our sector. And last but not least, you were mentioning also on updating your CV or when you have your PhD. No, maybe you don't want to do research, but you want to do NGO or something more applied. But then you can use your PhD experience as work experience, of course, because it's work experience as well. So it's important also to format its curriculum, of course, to the sector that you would like to work. If you are thinking about moving from academia to NGO, from wherever, the what you want to move, and to the role. So yeah, I hope yes, you get this. You learn from these advices that the mentors gave. And I wanted now to hear briefly from you. We are already time. It's time. But I would like to give you 5 more minutes, if that's okay for you to stay 5 more minutes, just to hear, or maybe less, depends on the audience. I wanted to hear from the mentees. How was your experience? You can share it in the chat if you're a bit more shy, or you prefer to share it in the chat. We would love to have your messages there written, on your experience. So one of the things that I wanted to ask is, so either with the chat or raising your hand if you would like to briefly talk, or either with an emoticon, you can give applause or heart or whatever you're feeling at the moment. I will say write your key takeaway in the chat if you would like to write it or say it, or raise your hand to share it verbally in the group. Key takeaway from the whole session. Yeah, Andrea raised the hand. Yes, please, Andrea. You were with José Antonio Charton, right? You were with 2 or with 1 mentor?
I was with 2.
2, okay. So
yes,
please say first with who, and then later, yeah, share the...
Yeah, so I had the great opportunity to have a talk with Veronica and Jose. And I think my main takeaway was validation from just having the conversation in like the stage where I am and where I want to go, and just hearing like the experience, like the life experiences of both of them is really, really nice. And then just refreshing as well. Just to hear what's, at the current state, like what's what are the people saying that are way ahead of me, like where they are and like what do they have to say? And it was just cool to have that conversation. Like it is stuck out with me, like staying connected, reach out to seniors, invest in your network. Academia is not a sprint, right? Like, and also work with humans. Because as much as I love the sharks, humans are a big part of it. So thank you so much for that, for everyone's time and for these spaces.
Thank you, Andrea, for sharing. Do we have anyone else that would like to share? We have Tarin Cole. No, that raised a hand.
Yeah. Perfect
Yes.
pronunciation. You got it.
What? Okay. I'm always afraid when I say a name that I'm not used to. Thank you.
So I was in Veronica's chat, and then I was in Yaprak's chat for a little bit. Hope I also got your pronunciation. If not, they are close. And then pop back into Veronica. And similar to Andrea, there's definitely a lot of validation, but I think the biggest takeaway for me is just community of I'm from like a very, very inland area of the States, like a 16-hour drive to the coast, and I've done most of my research and experience elsewhere. But having returned, I think sometimes in the job process, you can kind of maybe feel isolated or get lost in that. And then so I think it would just really appreciate everyone's time in bringing this together and realizing how like-minded people are. Of I'm like felt very specific of like what I'd like to do with policy and community, and that's a very shared thing. And so I think it's just it was a very nice experience to realize how easy it is to find community and kind of hear how non-linear more established people are. So very appreciated the chance to kind of come together and meet all these different people. So thank you.
That's great. Thank you for sharing. Even though you are far away from the sea, now you're still connected to the sea with the people. Happens to me. I now live in Köln in Germany and don't have the sea close, but yes, I go the winters I spend in Spain. But yes, it's important to be surrounded by people like-minded. If there are no more questions, I see a lot of messages. I will read a few before leaving. Sophie say, I really enjoyed the session. It was nice to know there were so many people in the same boat trying to get their foot in the door or in marine conservation. Also, Yaprak gave us some great advice on the different ways to upskill while looking for these opportunities. Fantastic. It is really great from Malu. It is really great to hear from mentors, but also hear from others and feel I'm not alone in the long and winding road, very poetic, to figuring out my path in the ocean conservation. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. I think with these words, we can already close the session. I would like to thank to everyone, to the mentees, to the mentors for their time. I know you probably have many questions still, no, but I hope that was useful. And we will run more webinars through Oceanogamy and the Blue Society Network. So please be updated. And when I think I will give you, I will send you my email. You can be in touch with me. If you have any particular question, maybe you can forward to the mentors, but be aware that they're very busy. So thanks for the time, for everyone. And I hope we have the chance to send a quick questionnaire feedback. It will be great to hear. Yes, thank you, Sophia. Thank you to Sophia and to Cesar also for helping to facilitate. Without them, all the technical and co-facilitation, it would have been very hard. So thank you very much. And I see that you are answering already the questionnaire. And have a nice rest of the day, or depends where you are at the moment. And I hope to see you soon.